After more than a decade of war, the bravery of U.S. service members continues to be inspiring. Nearly 1,500 veterans have lost limbs in Iraq and Afghanistan, but that has not stopped many of them from setting their sights higher than ever. Alaska's Mt McKinley reaches more than 20,000 feet into the sky, making it America's highest summit. Beginning Monday, a group of extraordinary men are going to climb to the top, proving the saying, only if you have been in the deepest valley can you ever know how magnificent it is to be on the highest mountain. The five are all wounded warriors, disabled veterans with just 4 good legs between them. This band of brothers has banded together for the Denali Challenge to raise awareness to the difficulties faced by our wounded heroes. 29-year-old Neil Duncan lost both legs fighting in Afghanistan, as did 42-year-old Steve Martin. 31-year-old David Borden lost 1 leg fighting in Iraq before redeploying to Afghanistan. Jesse Acosta, 34, suffered permanent hip, leg, and back damage in Iraq. They will be hiking with 64-year-old Kirk Bauer, himself an above-the-knee amputee and the executive director of Disabled Sports USA. The group has been training for the climb in Colorado and sets out on their journey tomorrow. It's hard to prepare for the conditions of Mt McKinley, where the temperature can reach 40 below zero with wind speeds of 150 miles per hour. But these are men who have already weathered the toughest of storms. And with us now, we are honored to welcome retired Army Captain Jesse Acosta and retired Army Sergeant Kirk Bauer. First of all, thank you for the sacrifices that you have both made, but also thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you, Rebecca.
How do you come up with something like this?
Well, Disabled Sports USA and the Warfighter Sports program was started when the war in Iraq was declared, and we basically started out by teaching the wounded warriors sports skills so they could use that to help rebuild their lives and get back into sports again. But not too long into the program, the warfighters started, demanding more, strenuous exertions and more strenuous activities because they really wanted to test the limits of their capabilities. So we started entering them into 26-mile hikes in the desert and 197-mile relay races from the top of Mount Hood, and they loved it. And then one of the warriors came to me a couple years ago and said, I want to try to climb Kilimanjaro, and that was sort of the ultimate. And we successfully did that with 2 double-leg amputees and myself, so we had 1 good leg between us then. And then it just then that just really created a demand. So this venture is going to be much tougher because Denali, or Mt McKinley, has got a lot of snow and ice, deep snow, slick ice, crevasses, and it's going to be a real challenge to see if these wounded warriors can make it up with their artificial prostheses and the injuries that they've received in battle.
Captain Acosta, what made you want to do this?
2 things. I think one, the sheer challenge of being able to overcome an obstacle, a perceived limitation. My particular injuries, the entire team, we all have injuries that have limitations in our own way. So as a team, climbing up the mountain together is just overcoming that obstacle, the individual obstacles that we perceive within ourselves, and the obstacles that we all have as a team together. And to be candid, I think it's probably one of the most challenging obstacles we could have come up with. So hopefully the idea is to be able to overcome, at least address those limitations, as well as inspiring to others what is possible.
And you will be a team. How did you put this group of men together?
Well, we at Disabled Sports USA really handpicked these guys to do this climb. And we look not so much for skill, but what we look for a positive mental attitude, a self-confidence, and a real striving to want to better themselves. All of them in their own lives have tried to be better, both in their professional lives and in their sports lives. And endurance, being willing to really get out there and hike and move for 12 and 13 hours. That was the core of the guys that we picked. David, Captain Borden of the Marine, is a perfect example. When I talked to him, he'd already lost a leg in Iraq from an IED, and now he was redeploying and going back to Afghanistan. And I said, you've got what it takes to get up this mountain. So when he got back from Afghanistan, he started training with us. But that's the kind of characters that these folks have, and I think it's going to get them to the top.
There's been a lot of attention lately on the crowds, the sheer number of people climbing mountains like Everest, and the fact that that has led to some really unfortunate incidents. Does that concern you at all?
I think in some regards it does. I think what's great about Denali and America in general, the mountain's a lot more regulated than a lot of mountains elsewhere. So combine that with a phenomenal guiding team that's taking us up, a lot of experience we have just as individuals and as a team getting up it. I think we feel very safe. You have seen other incidents in the press lately with respect to other bigger mountains, other smaller mountains. But I think Alaska, Denali in general, do a really good job of regulating that. So I think we're in good shape.
Well, we wish you the absolute best on your journey. Thank you for sharing your story with us, and we really look forward to checking in with you from the mountain as you climb.
Look for warfightersports.org, and you'll find out.
Absolutely. Best wishes, Captain Jesse Acosta and Sergeant Kirk Bauer. We look forward to hearing from you soon.